Does this thing glowing here on my chest make me look like a cyborg? It's no secret that I really enjoy hanging around Seattle, but sometimes the weather is a little bit less than inviting. So it's not a bad day altogether. It could be much worse. I decided to drive up here to Ikea because when I woke up this morning, it was pouring rain. And I thought, if I want to be up and moving around, I'm not really going to want to be outside quite so much. So I do one of the things that I usually do when the weather's not perfect out, is I just pick a store and do some shopping that I need to get done. Have something that I am hoping I'll find here at Ikea. And if not, you know, I'm here in the area, so it's a local store, so I can just go in. Nice thing about Ikea is they're always a nice big empty space, at least midweek. They're a nice big empty space, and you can walk around and take your time just out of the weather and in a heated space. And they also have really good restrooms in there. They're always really clean. So this is one of the places I hang out at if the weather's not going to be great. Funny thing though was on my drive over here, the weather cleared right up, and of course there's a little bit of sun peeking out now and then, but I think the rain is supposed to be heading back. We just have a little window of just clouds at the moment. So maybe I'm going to be inside during the good weather time. So maybe this wasn't the right idea to head over here. But all in all, a pretty decent day for weather here in the Seattle area this time of year. A little sun is always nice to see, which we can go several days without seeing any real major sun, so it's not a bad day at all. I want to point out I'm wearing something a little different today. I'm wearing a vest that I normally don't wear. This is a kind of a strange vest in that it is an electric vest, electric heated vest. You can see the little control button on the lapel here. Is that a lapel? Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, these heated vests have a little cord that will plug into a battery pack. So I have a little battery pack here. This is a 10,000 milliamp battery pack, and I bought this originally to charge my phone when I was out away from the van. And I bought this vest specifically because it works on these battery packs. It just has a regular old style USB plug on it. I don't remember what USB style that is, but you can see that. It's just a regular USB style plug. So it would plug into the battery pack, and then it has a little pocket for the battery pack to store down here in the vest, and then it has this little control on it, and this one was unique because it has two different controls that control the front and the back heating pads on the vest. And this is what I wanted because I bought this vest back when I was working in a really cold and damp warehouse, and I was a forklift operator, and it was just bitterly cold in there, and driving the forklift around, you'd get wind chill. It just seemed like no matter what I did to try to keep the wind out, the wind would just go down the neck of my jacket and go up the armholes of my coat, and I was just freezing all the time. So I thought that this would help, and I like that this one has separate controls for the front and the back of the heating pads, because I thought that that might save battery power a little bit. What I found out though was that I don't really find the front heat to be all that useful. I can turn it on now. I really don't find the front heat to be all that useful. On the really cold days, I would turn them both on, but most of the time I would just turn the back heat on. And the great thing about this heated vest is that it has heat in the collar. So that's why it has this kind of strange stand-up collar here. There's a little heating pad that goes right in the back of the collar, and so it sits right on the back of your neck. And so I would put this on and layer up a bunch of jackets and clothes on over top of this to try to keep that heating pad right on the back of my neck, and it did pretty good for that. Now, other than that, specific use case, I don't think that these things are really all that useful for most people. Maybe if you're really cold and you just need a little bit of extra heat now and then, you might find one of these heated vests or jackets to be useful, but I just don't really find it to be all that useful. The other thing is the battery goes pretty quickly. It churns through these batteries pretty fast. So this is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and if I would run this heater on, or if I'd run this jacket on low heat, it has 3 settings, high, medium, and low. If I'd run on low heat, it would use up this battery in about 3 hours time. So I had 2 of these and I would swap them out, but even having 2, there were some days I wouldn't make it all the way through the day, and I'd end up the last hour or 2 of my day with no power left and no heat at all. So this was kind of a helpful thing to have, but it was also kind of an aggravating thing to have, because it meant that I had to go buy another one of these battery packs because I only had the one. So it cost me a lot of money. I think this was only about $35, the vest itself. The quality of it's not really that great, but when I was looking at it, there's no tags on it, there's no name on it, so I think it was probably made by one company and then is sold by a bunch of different companies, and I think they're probably still for sale. This one's kind of distinctive because it's mostly black, but then it has this gray kind of band at the top, and if you go on Amazon, which is where I bought it, you'll see that there's a bunch of companies that sell these things. And again, I would say save your money. I don't think that they're really worth it unless you have a really specific use case scenario for them. I don't find them to be worth it. But today this is working out good for me because it'll keep me a little bit warm, and then if it starts to rain, I can just put my rain jacket on over top of it. So that's why I'm wearing it today, just because of the rain. Although it's not raining now. But anyway, let's finish off my coffee and then we'll go into Ikea and warm up a little bit. Okay, good news, everyone. I found exactly what I was hoping to find. I found a throw pillow. Now this might seem a little odd, but I didn't really know that throw pillows existed. I mean, yes, I knew that they existed. I just didn't understand why anybody would buy one and what the use of them would be until just recently. And my issue here is that I normally have 3 bed pillows, 3 full-size bed pillows. Here's the one. This is my 3rd pillow. I don't use this for sleeping. I use this just to prop myself up a little bit if I'm sitting this way against my bed, or if I'm sitting against my wall, which is behind the phone camera here. I'll just use this as a backrest or something. But it's much too big and it's taking up too much space, and so I need to just pare down a little bit. So I thought I could just get a smaller throw pillow, and this is an oblong one. Now I guess it's about half the size of my standard bed pillow here. So it's going to save a little bit of room, but not a ton of room. But I thought this size was perfect because it would still be able to let me use it as a backrest, or if I really needed to, once in a while, I'll use a 3rd pillow to sleep if I'm sick or something, or allergies, which is kind of a problem more and more, it seems. So I thought that this one was a perfect size, and I wanted one that would have a zip-off cover. So I found a cover that I kind of liked. Wasn't a whole lot of choice for this size, but this one seemed good because it kind of goes along with my gray and black scheme here. And it's got a little festiveness to it. Being that Christmas time is almost here, they had a bunch of Christmas themed ones, and I'm not so interested in those. no hates on anybody, but I don't celebrate any holidays whatsoever because whenever I buy something, I have to get rid of something. So now that I have a smaller pillow, that means I can get rid of this larger pillow and make up a little bit of space. So please don't send me any gifts. Not that you know where my address is. Anyway, let's move on. And the other thing I bought some bags, just some zip bags. I always buy those when I'm in there because they seem to be a better price in Ikea and a better quality, I think, too. I don't use too many of them, so I don't need to buy a whole bunch, but I use a few now and then. And then I bought some rechargeable batteries. These are AAA size rechargeable batteries, and a lot of what I uses AAA batteries, and so it's kind of nice to have some rechargeable ones so that I don't have to keep buying batteries. I don't mind buying bags and things, but batteries is a whole nother issue. Okay, I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't do on video, but I'm going to remove the tags off of this pillow. Hopefully they don't come for me, but there we go. Now I'll get this in the case here. I like this idea. I don't know why this hasn't occurred to me before to use a throw pillow like this or decorative pillow like this. I've just never seen the use of these things. I know they're popular and they're all over the place, but it's just never occurred to me that throw pillows would actually be useful for something. But I think this is going to be useful for me. And since this one has a nice cover that is 100% cotton, I won't mind using it, and I can wash it easily, so this is good. Now I just need to find a way to get rid of the bed pillow and get that out of here so that I can clear out a little space. It's getting really tight in here. Like right now I have all of my coats out, and like, I'm not wearing it at the moment, but my puffer jacket here, I've got my down coat out, my winter coat out, and my rain jacket out, and then I added to that mess by getting the vest out. The vest worked really well in there because it was nice and warm in there, but without having sleeves, when I'm outside, I kind of miss the sleeves. And then that reminded me, this is why I don't wear this thing very often, because I need sleeves. I am wearing my wool sweater, so that kept me at least a little bit comfortable on the trek to the store and back to the van. But vests are something that don't make a lot of sense to me either. So this is probably going to go back away in its spot because it's just not that useful. I mean, I guess if I put the battery in it and had it heating, maybe I wouldn't mind it not having sleeves. That's probably it. One other thing about these batteries. Word on the streets is that these are Eneloop batteries, and if you know about rechargeable batteries, that is the #1 brand, or at least it has been for a while. And I probably shouldn't be spreading rumors. That's not a good thing to do, but I'm pretty sure that rumor is true, that these are actually Eneloop batteries. They're made in Japan, so these are really good batteries, and they are a really good deal. I've been waiting to get back to in Ikea again because I have so many things that use AAA batteries, like my favorite flashlight. This is a mag light, and it uses 3 of these AAA batteries. And I do have a little battery charger. It's just a little cheap little battery charger from a company called EBL. I don't know if it's decent or not, but it's just the one that I bought. I bought it because it plugs into USB, which is a lot easier for me to use. I've got USB ports all over the place, where it's a lot harder if I have an AC plug that I have to plug in. So that's why I bought this one. It's worked fine, and it's made for different sizes of batteries. The only thing is I should have bought one that charges more than 2 batteries, because my flashlight uses 3 batteries. Means it takes a while to get anything charged up for me. And it's a little slow, being that it's just regular USB. It's a little bit slow to charge, but it works good, and it was super cheap. Now, I need to get some food on, because there's one thing that I don't do at Ikea is I don't eat anything at Ikea. I can't eat anything there. It really messes with me. So I didn't get anything to eat in there like everybody else likes to do. So I need to make some lunch now. Okay, I think I'm going to do some grilled cheese because it's the quickest and easiest thing. Plus, I eat grilled cheese all the time, so why not? I've got some of this really good local sourdough bread, just fantastic. It's a little bit too big to fit in my pan, so I've just been nipping the end off of them a little bit here, and then I'll use these for breakfast in the morning. I just toast them up and use them for toast with my eggs in the morning. The last few minutes it's really gotten dark out. Yeah, this is life in Seattle here. It's tough if you need the sun. I just checked my solar stats for my solar electric system. I've pulled in, I think it said 180 watts today, 180 watt hours today, which is not a whole lot. My fridge is my biggest electric user in the van, so that usually pulls much less than 100 watts over 24 hours. So, you know, I'm not getting behind, but I'm certainly not getting ahead. So it's kind of worrisome in a little bit of a way, because, you know, if it were this dark all day, which it normally is, or, you know, I shouldn't say normally is, but it's often normally this dark all day long, or even darker, then I would be in trouble, because then I wouldn't really be pulling in as much as my fridge is using, and so that's what makes it tough being up here. Okay, I'm getting the kettle on here because I need some coffee. You know what I should probably do, since I'm wearing this silly vest, I should probably just put the battery in it. Here it is, and turn it on, because it's getting to be a little chilly out. I've got the door open, which of course means it's breezy in here. But if I'm wearing this thing, I might as well just use it, right? Let me turn this on. Probably the biggest thing I've not liked about using this is just recharging the battery. It just takes so much time to recharge the battery. If I had access to a AC wall plug somewhere, like back when I was using it at work, I just took an extra charging cord and an extra charger, and I would just plug one of the batteries in at the warehouse, and that was how I was charging them up. But nowadays, with limited solar, I just trying to avoid using too much electricity when I just don't really need it. You know, this is a luxury kind of thing, and it's not really needed most of the time. But I should just try it out a little bit. Part of my thinking about trying it out is I either need to use it a little bit more or get rid of it, which kind of, I'm looking at this wall of pillows here behind me as I'm making my lunch and as I'm starting the coffee here, and I'm like, this is just ridiculous. You know, I got to get rid of one of those pillows somewhere. I just don't have the space to keep everything in here. One of my really big pet peeves is when somebody tells me, oh, you can have, you know, you should have this thing, you should buy this thing, and you'll find space for it. It doesn't take up any room at all. And if I'm standing near the van, I usually just point to the van and say, look, I don't have room. There is no more room. If I buy something, something else has to go away, and I don't want to decide that something that you find is important is something that I'm going to need to have around. Yeah, it just doesn't work that way. By the way, Somebody bought me a bag of my favorite coffee. So if you're watching this, thank you very much. She actually sent me money to buy it. Funny thing was, when I went in to buy it, it was on sale. So I ended up buying 2 bags for just a little bit more than what she sent me. So I actually have, well, 3/4 of a bag I'm working on right now and a whole nother bag behind. So it was a rather nice gesture, and I do really appreciate that. So thank you again if you happen to be watching. I very nearly went and sat in the restaurant and got a coffee in Ikea there. While I can't eat the food, I don't mind their coffee. It's not the greatest coffee ever, but it's drinkable and the price is right, obviously. So, you know, it's totally fine. I do that once in a while. I think, you know, while the coffee's not fantastic, it is kind of a nice place just to hang out. It does get a little loud in there sometimes, especially on the weekends, but it is just a nice place to hang out. There's Wi-Fi and stuff if you need it. Sometimes I'll take my iPad in and just sit there. It's just, it's kind of like a little local hangout, more or less. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the neighborhood do that here, and I certainly do it when I'm around Seattle here. I just kind of hide away in Ikea, especially if the weather's not so great. And one of the reasons that I almost went back and got coffee and just sat in there is because I've been spending a lot of time just sitting in the van. And I try to keep the door open like I have it right now. But, you know, I'd rather be up and moving. And even if I'm moving, meaning that I'm walking around inside of a store or a mall or something, that's kind of more preferable to me than just sitting. I just feel so much better. Just all the way around, I feel so much better if I'm moving around. So I almost just sat in there just so that I could be kind of more out and about and away from the van a little bit. It was really cold the last couple of weeks here, kind of unusually cold. And so, you know, that just meant that I was in the van a little more than I really wanted to be. Plus, I had a few days where I wasn't feeling so good either, so that kind of was another part of that. But this is just one of those things that I do. If the weather's going to be extreme, either cold or hot, then I'll do something like this where I'll just go get lost in a store for a while and walk around as slow as possible. Well, maybe not walk slow, but, you know, just look around as much as possible and just take my time. Especially on a weekday like today, I'm not bothering anybody. And today I actually found a few things to buy that I think I need. Although most of the time, I'll just go in there and just hang out. I might not buy much, might buy a coffee or two, and that'll be about it. But yeah, this is just one of those things that I have to do from time to time just to keep myself moving, because if I'm not standing up and moving around, I'm just not myself. Sitting here enjoying my coffee, I'm looking out across the parking lot and I see that there is a trash can. I'm going to take advantage of that and get rid of this pillow. I know it's going to fill up most of the trash can, but I got to get rid of this thing, and I just spent some money in Ikea, so I think it's okay that I do this, right? Hopefully. Okay, that trash can was empty, so I wasn't taking up too much space. Plus, there's a bunch of other trash cans around the parking lot here, and I wouldn't have thrown that out if I didn't buy something here at Ikea. That's just the way I roll. And I definitely needed to get rid of it, although this still looks like it's a huge pile, but that's because I've got my winter coat here. Just because I normally hang it up by the door over here, but then it makes it hard for me to get in and out. So I just throw it up on top of the pillows here. But, you know, without that, this is not so bad. And I like that it's a smaller pillow. We'll see how that works out over time. But so far, I think it's going to be a good thing. Does this thing glowing here on my chest make me look like a cyborg? I feel like a cyborg. This coffee is so incredibly good, And I always assume that people know what I'm talking about when I mention it, because it is my favorite coffee and I buy it all the time. But I forgot to mention it, so I'll just do that now, kind of correct myself in hindsight here. This is Groundwork is the company, and this is their organic Ethiopian blend of coffee, and my absolute favorite coffee. Groundwork makes a lot of different styles of coffee. They make dark roasts and light roasts and everything in between, but light roast is always my favorite, and this is one of their light roasts that they do. And the first time I tried this coffee, it just kind of blew my mind as to just how different it was than any other kind of coffee that I've ever had. I don't think I'd had Ethiopian coffee before I tried this one. This was my first time trying it, and it's very different. Ethiopian coffee is very different. I've tried other Ethiopian coffees since then, and they're all really good, but nothing seems like it's as good as Groundwork, at least to me. It's just my personal favorite. And because it was going to be a chilly day today, I decided to use my big mug. So I've got lots and lots of coffee that I'm drinking today. I haven't been drinking a whole lot of coffee lately, so I'm making up for it today for sure. You know what? I'm just realizing this thing, this heater on high, well, electric vest heater on high is a little much. It feels good, but I just turned it down to medium. We'll try it there. With the heat on, I actually don't miss the sleeves. So I guess I should have just kept the battery in it and have been using it all day. Maybe I will keep this thing around. It would be useful from time to time, especially like right now. I got the door open. There's a pretty good breeze going outside, and it's fairly chilly. I don't know, low 40s, I guess, and I'm perfectly comfortable. So I think there's the answer. I think I need to keep this vest. Well, I kind of need to get to the grocery store, but I don't really want to go to one right here. There's a Fred Meyer that's right up the hill over here, but every time I've been to it, it's just been crazy busy. Parking lot's usually jammed, and just traffic getting in and out of there is really busy. So I was thinking I don't really want to go to that one. And then I remembered there's an Uwajimaya Asian grocery store over in that direction. And I really like that store. It's an awesome store. It's a fun store to just walk around in, just kind of like what I did here today. Not that I really need much, but it's just an awesome store. The produce is usually pretty good, and prices are usually pretty good in there too. And they have a bunch of like really interesting kitchen gadgets and things that you normally don't see anywhere else. But I kind of don't want to go over there either, because that's usually a madhouse over there too. This whole area of Seattle is usually fairly busy. Okay, so what I think I want to do is get to the store. I'm not going to go to this one. I think I'm going to go to a different part of town that's not quite so busy and crazy. And it's starting to get dark, so I should probably get out of here anyway. I need to get a few things. I'm supposed to be hanging out with a friend, and I said I was going to bring some steak, but I think I might get some stew meat and make up some stew and take that instead. I'll ask first, but I don't see why they'd have a problem with that. But I can do that tomorrow, cook up some stew and take that, and then we won't have to cook anything. We can just heat it up and eat it. So I think it's a good idea all around. One thing for sure is I don't need this vest on anymore. Let me turn that off. Okay, starting to get too warm. I'll definitely get too warm once I'm driving.
67 south at 0.75 miles. You are still on the best route.
Okay, I just found a parking spot here near the store. And in typical Seattle fashion, I only had a few miles to drive, but that took nearly an hour for me to get over here. So at least I have a parking spot. I don't have to go find another one after I go shopping. But yeah, driving in Seattle can often be really, really annoying, and it was today. Virtually everywhere I would have headed, away from the neighborhood around Ikea had accidents everywhere. So I just picked one spot to go and had to just do it and deal with it. Oh well. I'm going to walk over to the store now, but I think I'm going to need to swap out this little vest with a real coat because it's cold and it's starting to rain again. Okay, well, it was a good thing that I swapped out the vest for the winter coat because it started to rain a little bit here. And also, I am a little farther away from the store than I thought I was. I thought it was just a block or two, but I think it was more like 6 or so blocks away from the store. So I was okay going down there. It was just sprinkling lightly, but coming back, it started to rain a bit. So glad I had a waterproof coat on. Let me hang this up so it can dry. And let me wash up here. Okay, now I can put my groceries away here. So I did hear back from my friend. They said stew is good with them. So I bought an onion at the store and some parsley. And I have a few things already for stew, but obviously I needed some meat. So I bought a big pack of chuck roast, and this is about 2.5 pounds of chuck roast. Tomorrow I'll chop it up into some pieces, brown it off, and then cook it off. And I've got some work to do on my iPad tomorrow, so this will keep me in the van now and occupied. I think it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. You can probably hear the rain now. It's starting to pick up a little bit more. It's a good thing I got back to the van when I did here. I did get a little bit wet, but I think I missed most of it, which is good. So we'll put that away for later. And I didn't end up going to the Asian grocery store or to Fred Meyer. And Fred Meyer's a big, it's a big chain. It's the Kroger chain of grocery stores, so it's well known. But they call it Fred Meyer in this area, and it's really popular here. But I actually went to another really popular store in the area called Metropolitan Market. And if I'm going to buy meat, I usually get meat at Metropolitan Market versus Fred Meyer. I have had some bad meat from Fred Meyer in the past, and so I'm a little cautious about buying from them anymore. And I used to buy all of my meat at Grocery Outlet, and there's a few of those around too here, but I had some bad meat from Grocery Outlet more recently, just a few months back. I had picked up a pack, and I was traveling, so I opened it up when I got, well away from the store that I bought it from and realized it was not good. Luckily, I didn't eat any of it, but it was definitely bad. So I've been a little bit weary about where I buy meat from anymore. So that's why I forgot to put the parsley away. So that's why I just went ahead and went to Metropolitan Market. It's an upscale grocery store, so it's not the cheapest place to get food, but I just go there for a few things occasionally. They actually have my second favorite coffee that they sell there. It's their house blend of coffee, and it's always a really good price. I didn't buy a package of that because I'm so loaded up with other coffee at the moment that I didn't really need to buy anything else. But I did splurge, and I bought myself one of these pears. It's supposed to be a really good pear, and it's supposed to be really creamy and tasty and all. So that'll be dessert tonight because I have not been eating a lot of sugar lately. So that'll be a nice little treat tonight. But first we need to get some food going. And for dinner, I am going to eat the 2 large pieces of sourdough that I have left. I've just got some end pieces, which again, I'll use for breakfast tomorrow morning. Actually, you know what? I should probably make some French toast with that tomorrow. That'd be even better because I've got a few pieces here. They're all little pieces though, so that'd actually be a good idea to use that up. I haven't made any French toast in a long time. Okay, so this will make a nice big burger because I've got a couple of big pieces left. And I've got some ground beef left that needs to get eaten up. Okay, first things first, I'm going to get the stove turned on here, and I will toast off this bread just because it'll taste a little bit better that way. Is that going to fit in there? Hey, look at that. That's going to fit in there. I don't have to trim any off. Okay, good enough. Okay, I've got this pressed out into basically the size of the bread, and I always like to put the salt in the pan first versus salting the meat itself. Just find it to be easier. And then I will put some salt on this side of the meat while it's here. And I salt pretty aggressively, but this is a pretty big hamburger patty, so I think it needs it. And then the other thing we need is I'm going to turn my vent fan on, because otherwise I'm going to have a bunch of fat floating around in here. I think it's already a little smoky in here, so that'll pull the fat out, and then I won't have a big mess to clean up. Well, I will have the vent fan screen to clean up eventually, but that's okay. I just do that every once in a while. But that'll keep it nice and clean in here, so I don't have to worry about it getting all messy and greasy. Okay, I think we're done. I just removed the top here. I put this bowl on top just to help melt the cheese a little bit. And yeah, we're nicely melted, so turn the heat off. And when I say I'm going to do a simple burger, I mean it. Now, I'm obviously doing a cheeseburger, and the only thing I'm going to add to this is some barbecue sauce and some dill relish, and that's it. Oh, let me turn the ceiling fan off. That's a nice way to keep it clean in here and not have a big mess to clean up later, but it does suck all the heat out. And this time of year, I like to have a little heat hang around the van so that it's basically like a heater every time I'm cooking my dinner or cooking anything. Okay, so a little relish, a little barbecue sauce, and there's my dinner. And yes, I do know the vegetables exist, and I will be eating some tomorrow because my friend is making a big thing of broccoli and kale and something else, I forget. Hopefully there's no okra or Brussels sprouts, although I think they know that I don't like Brussels sprouts. I hope they know I don't like Brussels sprouts. I'll worry about that tomorrow. That's a tomorrow problem, or Sunday actually. That would be Sunday. That's a Sunday problem, not a today problem. I have no worries right now. Okay, I inhaled that burger. It was just didn't last very long. But this pear has been beckoning me. I really like pears, and I don't buy them very often. And this is supposed to be one of those special ones that's only available a certain time of year or something. I don't know if that's really true, but I want to give it a try here and just see. Oh my goodness, I can tell it's extra juicy. So that's a good sign. Let me just give this a little quick taste here. Okay, I should have bought a few of these. We'll enjoy that. But first, I need to get the kettle on, get another cup of coffee going, because I just need to warm up the space a little bit in here. I also need to get the heater turned on too, so we'll get the kettle on first, then the heater on. So it's starting to get chilly. So there's something interesting about this groundwork Ethiopian coffee. The thing I find with this coffee is it seems to open up a little bit more and have a little bit more flavor if I just brew it a little bit longer. So normally I only will brew right until 4.5 minutes, and I time that very carefully. But with this coffee, it just seems like it's just a little bit better. It's the one coffee that I think is helps a little bit, and it's okay to brew longer than 4.5 minutes. Generally, I would say never brew more than 4.5 minutes, but for whatever reason, this one is just so much better, and you'll get a lot more flavor out of it if you just give it a little bit longer of a brew. Now, you don't want to overdo it, obviously. This one ended up being just about 5 minutes, and that's usually the way that I think it tastes the best. This is also an unusual coffee in that I can actually enjoy this one without any half and half in it. It's just that good. And it's also really good when it's cold. And that is why it is my favorite coffee. It's just a really easy to brew coffee, versatile coffee, and quite tasty coffee as well. So I've got my heater going. It's nice and warm in here now. And I have my pear on the standby. I'm going to enjoy this as slowly as I can. This is really a fantastic pear. And I'm also going to enjoy my coffee, of course. And that's going to be about it for me today. I know this is kind of an odd one today because it was basically just me hiding away in Ikea all day. But if you made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me. And also, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.